Hello everyone, welcome to SR Technologies. Today we are going to take another mock interview with one of our existing student. His name is Pradeep Reddy. He's having overall 5+ years of experience in IT industry. Initially, he worked around 3 years of experience in manual testing. Later, he jumped into ETL. Before joining us, right, he is not confident to clear the interviews. Now, after joining with us, he is able to clear the interviews, especially with the different companies. Right now, he is having around 3 to 4 offers. Rest of the companies are in progress. When it comes to rest of the companies in progress, some of the companies which he cleared, like uh, first round is clear, some of the companies which he is clear second round, like that multiple companies are there. Currently he got the offers with CGI, LTM as well as Wipro companies. The maximum salary which he got is 22 lakhs. Current salary is nothing but a he's having 11 lakhs per annum. So now he is getting 100% hike as per after getting trained here. So let me introduce Pradeep. Hello Pradeep.
Yeah, hi sir. Good afternoon.
Yeah. So here, let's go like very professional way. Okay, I don't want you to like student and trainer kind of interview. Let's go with a very professional way. Let me get into the process. Shall we?
Yeah, sure, sure. Yeah,
Hello, Pradeep. I'm Ravindra. I have been working with ETL testing for the past 5 years. So I'm excited to hear about your experiences as well as let's dive into your journey in ETL testing, data warehousing testing, and what kind of tools you have used, as well as what kind of challenges you have faced in your day to day. So before starting of the interview, I wanted to explain you how the interview goes. What are the areas which I'm going to ask? Let me get into that. So the first thing is we'll go with the SQL. How much you are, what level of expertise you are in SQL, as well as we'll go ahead and we'll cover the data warehousing concepts and Unix and ETL testing validations and Informatica. And very important thing nowadays, specifically, why I'm including this concept as well. Nowadays, everybody is asking about Python, and people are expected you to be automated. So even our company also looking for the Python automation. Who's experienced in that particular area? I wanted to go ahead and I wanted to ask even I wanted to test your knowledge in Python as well. Let's get into let's get into the interview. So, hi Pradeep, can you please tell me about yourself?
yeah. Hi, Ravindra. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Yeah, I am Pradeep Reddy. So, I'm having overall 5+ years of experience in IT industry, and I'm currently working with Cognizant as a ETL tester in Bangalore only. So, when it comes to my technical stack, predominantly I'm working with ETL tools like Informatica Power Center and having basic hands-on Matillion and Amazon Glue, cloud-based ETL tools. And in database, I have worked Oracle, SQL Server, and having basic hands on Snowflake and Amazon Redshift data warehouse. And for efforts and defects logging perspective, we are using Jira and ADO test management tools. And also, I have worked on different domains, like those are retail, energy and utility, and customer service domains. And also I have worked on the migration projects actually. So yeah, this is pretty much about myself and my technical stack, Ravindra. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, it's good to hear. Let's jump into like your roles and responsibilities. Can you please explain about your roles and responsibility, how you work day to day?
Yeah, sure. So my roles and responsibilities are including my day to day work are like like understanding the business requirements and the logics and preparation of test designs like test scenarios, test cases, and test scripts. And also understanding the mapping document which we are received from the product owner or development team, and also conducting the testing between the source and target tables with respect to test scenarios and test scripts by writing the SQL queries in both the databases to make sure the data completeness, data accuracy, and data quality, and also logging the defects if anything data mismatches between the source and targets, and log the defects in the Jira and assign to the respective developers, And also if that defects are fixed, then again conducting the retest on the fixed defects and close all the defects in the Jira. And also I have involved in preparation of the test strategies before starting our test activities. So these are the my everyday roles and responsibilities, including in my project, Ravindra.
Okay, that's good to hear. And
Yeah.
let's get into straight away, technical evaluations. So specifically, let's go with the I have shared here my screen. So let me
Yeah.
go with the one by one. Can you please explain me? Can you please write the query how to identify the duplicates in a particular table? Okay, and there are two ways to do that. Generally, how to identify the duplicates. Okay, there are two things which I wanted to understand. For example, generally, if you have a primary key. Okay, how are you going to do that? Without primary key, how are you going to do that?
Uh, if we have the primary key, so we'll take that primary key, like select that primary key, and we'll take the count of star and from the table name and group by
Can you please write the query? I will give you the access. If you request the access, I will give you the access here. Generally,
uh,
in general interview, people will
yeah.
send you in chat, but here I'm asking you to take the control and go ahead and write the query. You can request the
Uh,
control.
yes, I'm doing that actually. Uh,
Or
why?
you do one thing. Okay, you can write it up
Yeah,
in
yeah,
chat. Okay, and give me.
sure,
Okay, so that I'll copy paste here, so that you can explain that particular thing.
sure. Yeah, I'm writing now, Render actually. Yeah, just a minute.
Yep, go ahead.
So, shall I take employee ID as a primary key, for example? Now?
Yeah, in this case, actually, let's say first scenario is you use the employees table, and under that
Mhm.
primary key is the employee ID, and within
Sure.
the same table, okay, uh,
Mhm.
I I feel that it's kind of employee ID is coming as unique, but rest of the columns are having uh, with duplicates. How can you do that? That is the another question. Two questions which I'm asking here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. So let me write the code.
you ping me in chat. I will copy paste here. Or
Yeah. Sure.
you can explain me, I will write it up better.
Yeah, that will be good actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for the first thing, right? So if we take the employee ID as a primary key, so we can write it as like select employee ID,
Okay. Select
uh,
employee ID,
employee ID, then
counter
count of star from employee,
from employees. Okay.
group by
Group by
employee ID,
group by
having employee ID having count of star is greater than one.
one. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the first question, first answer, right? How to find the
Yes.
duplicates from employees table. Now,
Yes.
second,
Correct.
can you please go with the second question as well within that same?
Uh, Yeah. So second question, I think as per my experience, so we can assign the row numbers for all the red cards which are presented in the table. So
No,
and to
I'm asking like this. Okay, try to understand. Suppose if employee ID is coming as unique. Okay, employee ID
okay,
primary
okay,
key is coming as unique. Okay,
okay,
let me give
okay,
you one example. People you heard of it, maybe true duplicates. Have you heard of it, true duplicates? Employee ID is coming as, let's say here. Let me explain the scenario. Then after that, you think of it. Here it is coming as 1, 2, 3. Let's say here
okay.
employee name is there. Okay, and salary is there. Just consider the two columns. Here it is
Yeah,
coming as Pradeep here. Okay, salary is 1,000. Okay, here again Pradeep is coming. Okay, and 1,000 is coming. Okay, here
okay,
Ravindra is coming here. Okay, Ravindra, and here 2000 is coming. Now I wanted to identify. See, Pradeep and Pradeep. Here I have given two columns. If even 10 columns are there, if it is coming same row, okay, how can you identify like this kind of scenario? If you go with the primary key, right? Primary key will
yeah.
not give you any proper results because it is showing as unique values. Okay, now
Okay.
let's go with the this kind of scenario. How can you do that?
Uh, so we can select that particular columns on that side and count of that columns, like what you do, the
So,
same approach we can.
would you mind writing the query here?
Yeah, so select employee name and salary,
Okay.
employee name and salary, and count of so employee name, yeah, star from table name, employee, and having count of star is greater than one. So group by, yeah,
Group by?
group by two columns, like what we have selected, employee name and salary.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the count of the having, yeah.
Greater
So
than?
greater
This
than
is
one. Yeah.
this is what you are trying to say. Okay. Got
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Now let's go with the other question. Okay.
Sure.
So explain me the difference between NVL and NVL2 and college functions.
Yeah, so Envil and Envel2 and Coalesce, all these are the functions. So in the SQL is related to handling the null values in the table. So in the Envel, right, if you have the null values in the table, like in the particular column, if you use that NVL function, so it will replace the null values with the given value. For example, say if it is table is having, I mean, column is having, employee column is having the null value, if you wanted to replace the default value, so then we need to mention within that function. So it will replace whichever is having the null with that default value. And well, and also it will take the two arguments in the NVL. When it comes to NVL2, it will take the three arguments. So first one is whatever is that, it will column name, and then what is it is, I mean, replacing with that values what we wanted to. If not, then it will take automatic as a default values. So and also Coalesce also, it will take the three arguments. Like first, it will return as a, if you use the Coalesce functions, it will return first, return as not null values. Then it will go for the replacing of the null values. Then another argument as a default null values. So that is the difference between NVL and NVL2 and Coalesce functions to handle the null values.
Okay. That's good. Let's go into another question. Give me the first highest salary department wise. Can you please write it up multiple ways?
Yeah, we can do the two ways, like using the Windows functions like dense rank, and also by using the subquery. So these two approaches we can use, and we can get the maximum salary. So yeah, first case is no, you can write like in the inline view query, like select the columns, okay, whichever is there.
Okay.
For example, select employee.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's consider you have only consider it's kind of employee ID, employee name, and salary as well as department ID columns only. Four columns are there.
Yeah,
Now
sure. So
consider
select
employee ID.
employee ID, yeah, employee
o-
name,
Okay. Email.
salary, and
Okay.
department ID,
Department ID. Okay.
ID, and dense rank,
Okay. Dense rank.
dense rank, yeah, over,
Okay.
partition by
Partition by.
depart department ID,
Okay.
and order by salary descending, DESC, because we need to get a salary from highest to lowest, right? So that is and like this we can take as a alias as salary rank,
Okay. Plus salary rank.
from employee table.
Okay. From employees table. Yeah.
Table. So this is this will put it in a inline view in the inline query. So that will take name as a EA. And the outside we can write outside query, we can write select star from.
Why do we need just I'm cross questioning here.
Yeah,
Why do we
yeah.
need inline view? Can't we use directly cell rank in where clause?
Yeah, we can't because here we have given the alias column name, right? Ravindra, like salary rank. So
Mm.
within that query, in a single query, we can't filter the alias column. So due to that, we have to put it in the inline. So then with the reference of this inline result, we can filter from the outline query, like select star from this whatever result it will come like as a where the salary rank is equal to 1. So then it will give as a department wise highest salary.
Okay, this is
So
the
like
one approach. Okay,
one approach. Yeah. So
okay,
on the second approach, so we can go with the like subquery without a dense rank. Like in the inline subquery, we can write like select department ID,
okay. Select department ID.
select department ID and max of salary,
Okay, max of salary
max of salary as salary that we can take it as alias from employees
from employees.
and group by department ID.
Approved by department ID.
Department ID. So from this, we'll get a department ID wise maximum salary. So with the
Mhm.
reference of these results in the outline query, we can write like select a star from employees.
Okay, can you please help me out with the query? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. So in the outer query, you can write like
Okay. So you are mentioning outer query,
outer
which is
query. Yeah, select star from
so let's start from
employees
employees. Okay,
where
where
in bracket. So here we need to take the two columns like I mean to display like what is the department ID, the salary is maximum. So that's what I'm just taking like a department ID, comma salary, the two columns in the where condition. And I'm using the in function here, like just I'm looking what are the department ID salary is there. So just I'm looking using the in the inline result. So whatever we have mentioned in the maximum salary. So by this approach also, we can get with the maximum salary and the department wise, I
got
think.
it. Got it.
Yeah,
Okay. Now let's get into this one, another scenario-based question. Okay, till
sure.
now I have asked it just say it's a very normal questions like but let's get into scenario. Now I have to update
Correct.
the table. Okay, here
Mm-hmm.
you can see sources table one. Okay, there are
Okay.
two columns are there. Within the two
Mm-hmm.
columns, we have a values, different set of values. Okay, consider one is there, zero is there, one is there, zero is there here, column one. Okay, in
Mm-hmm.
here,
Mm-hmm.
this is the values are there. Now I wanted to update column two, according to the column one. Okay. For
Mm-hmm.
example,
Mm-hmm.
here you can see wherever one is there, it is column two is populating as zero, right? Now, wherever
Mm-hmm.
zero is there, I wanted to populate it. I wanted to populate as one. Okay. Wherever one is there, I wanted to populate it. I wanted to populate it as zero. Here you can see. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
let me highlight it here. Let me make you understand. Here you
Yeah.
understand, right? So for
Correct.
example, here zero is there. Okay. Opposite.
Hmm.
So uh, with the column two, what is there? One is there. So now I wanted to populate it wherever zero is there, one populate it. Wherever one is there, okay, should be populated as zero. Now I wanted to update this table. I'm not asking you to select it. Okay. I'm asking you to update it. Update the data with multiple conditions.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, Ravindra. I mean, just give me a minute to analyze the table actually. So, what approach I can
Yeah.
take here? Okay. So we have column one and column two. Column is one. Column two is zero in the source, but in the target it is updating is one. And one. So yeah, I think so. Whenever is zero is there in the column two in the source table, that should be replaced with the I mean update with the one. And whenever is a one is there, that should be updated with the zero. That is what the requirement in the target table column to write, Ravindra.
Right, right.
Yeah. So yeah. So here we can use a query like update the target table
Update. Okay.
and use
Let's say
like a set. Yeah.
set
The set column two is equal to
column two
uh,
equals to
so like we need to write a case statement like where case when column two is equal to zero
okay, case column two equals to zero.
zero then one
Okay, then
else then one again when column two is equal to one
1 minute. I have written. Yeah,
yeah
again when. Okay,
when
column two equals to
column two is equal to one
okay.
then 0.
then 0.
Else,
Else,
we can make it as like empty space or anything not applicable, that kind, and end as column 2.
column. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It is.
From
So my experience, it is not required as of now
okay,
because
okay, yeah,
you are doing update. So correct it, that
yeah.
particular. Okay.
So
Yep.
sure, and from the table name we need to.
Okay. Update. Update.
No, update target is here we have, okay, update is set. And I think after the end, we need to write the column, table name from source, that kind of,
Not required. You
not
can
required. Oh,
check it out from your
yeah,
end.
yeah, sure, sure. Yeah, yeah.
Here
Okay,
you are
okay.
doing update. Okay. There
Update.
is
Yeah,
no
yeah, yeah. Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay. Yeah.
here. I've mentioned it incorrectly. Instead of that, a target table, if I can mention, then it will not create any mess.
Sure, sure. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, now
Just got it.
let's go to another query. This is nothing but it. Here you have a source, okay, and within that source you have a one column, one table. Table A is there, column is
Mm-hmm.
there. Okay, here you are having a positive values as well as negative values. Let's say here 1, 2, 3 is there. Here minus 1, 2, 3 is there. Now I
Yeah.
wanted target table should be populated as table A. Okay, table A here. And I wanted to populate it with two columns. One is wherever the positive values are there, just I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to total it as this one. Okay, here you can see 1, 2, 3 is there, 6 is there. Negative total,
Okay.
here you can see, here also you can count it, -6. So I wanted to populate. Can you please write the query for this?
Okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3. So the positive total is 3 plus 2, 5 plus 1, 6. Negative is 3 plus 2, 5 plus 1, 6. Okay, so we need to, I mean, I need to get the output like separate of positive to total is separate and negative total is separate.
Correct.
Yeah, so if I use the sum of column, then it will not, it will give you the only one output. Uh, yeah, yeah, Ravindra. I mean, I think here also we can use a conditional wise sum, like
Okay.
inside of, I mean, sum inside that we can use like case statement wherever is that column is greater than 0.
Can we get into
Like,
query?
yeah,
Select.
sure, sure. So, yeah, select sum,
Okay, sum
select sum in the bracket like case
is well.
when that column name is greater than 0.
Okay, let's take it up as a here ID. Okay,
Yeah, when
column
yeah,
ID.
that ID. Yeah, when
Or like
ID.
what we can call amount. Okay,
Yeah,
amount
oh
column is
sure. Yeah, so
let
case.
me go ahead and make it as amount here so that
Sure,
instead of people might confuse again.
correct.
So yeah, now tell me.
So yeah, so case when amount is greater than 0,
Okay,
then amount
then okay, then
amount
amount. Okay,
else 0 end
else 0 and
end as so we can take as a positive total.
can I close this bracket?
Yes, 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 yes. We need to, yeah, close the bracket as positive total.
Positive total. Okay,
Yeah, then comma, one more sum statement for the negative, like we can write same like
case.
some
Okay,
case when amount is
hmm.
lesser than 0,
Okay,
then amount else 0,
else 0.
and end else 0 end as negative total from table
Okay, negative total.
negative total. Yeah,
Total. Okay, from
from table name.
okay,
Yeah, table A. Sorry. Yeah.
table. Okay, great.
Yeah, so
Okay.
by this we can get that. Yeah.
Yeah, we have done with the SQL. Let me get into other areas. Okay, how good
Okay.
you are.
Okay.
So I'm happy with your SQL knowledge. Okay,
Yeah.
let
Thank
me
you. Thank you.
let me go get into other concepts as well.
Sure. Sure.
So let me divide this particular here. Okay. So this is the
Mm-hmm.
mock interview, which I'm taking it up like this. Generally, they won't display this much. Okay, they'll go
Yeah.
ahead and they'll ask the question. But as it is
Correct.
a mock interview, I'm asking, I'm even showcasing the questions as well as I'm asking this for viewers' perspective. So let me
Correct.
go with the, let's get into data warehousing concepts. Okay. First,
Yeah.
explain me the what is star schema and what is snowflake schema.
Yeah. So in the data warehouse, the star schema and snowflake schema will comes in the design the models of the data warehouse. So in the star schema is nothing but it is having the centralized location of the fact table and surrounded by the multiple dimensions table that we can say as a star schema. And whereas the snowflake schema, it is a extension of the star schema, I can say. So there also we'll have a fact table, centralized fact table, and surrounded by the dimensions table, multiple dimensions table, and along with the we'll have extension of sub multiple dimensions table with the reference key with the main dimensions table. That is what the star schema and snowflake schema is existing in the data warehouse.
Okay. So you mean to say data modeling techniques which you are using for building the data warehouse.
Data warehouse, yeah. So majorly, as per my experience, we'll choose the star schema is first. So this is in terms of the design wise, it is a simple way on the design and the querying the things and everything is simple as compared to the Snowflake schema. So as per my experience, actually, I can say, yeah.
Got it. Let's get into another question. What is dimension? What is fact?
Yeah, so as I told, in the star schema, so we'll have both the dimensions and fact tables. So whereas in the dimensions, so we'll have detailed data, I can say. So it is having, descriptive data in the dimensions table, including, for example, I can say the customer ID, customer name, and the product name, product price. Like that, it is containing the detailed data in the dimensions table, and whereas fact table, it is contains the maximum of numeric values like aggregated data in the fact and with the reference of the dimensions. So in the dimensions tables, we'll have a primary key, and in the fact tables, we'll have the foreign key, which is relations between the dimensions and fact table. So this is what dimensions and fact tables I can say.
Okay. I have following question.
Yeah.
Which which table is going to load first, dimensions or facts in your project?
First we'll load the dimensions tables only. So first we'll load, like as a ETL architecture. So first we'll the take we'll extract the data from the source and we'll load it into the stage layer where we load raw data. We can say our one-to-one data if it is that project is in migration side. So then we'll perform the requirements like transformations, that kind of things. We'll apply in the stage layer table. Then we'll load into the curated layer, that is our final layer in the target system. So there we'll use as a dimensions tables, and also after that dimensions, and also we'll create a fact table. So we'll load the aggregated data into the fact tables. So yeah,
Okay.
like that.
Yep. Thanks for giving that in detail information.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's get into another here. Okay. What is SCD? What are the types of SCDs? You know.
Uh, I mean, the SCD, I can say it is a slowly changing dimension. So it will these roles will comes with the where will deals with the incremental data in the ETL projects. So like we have the different types of SCDs actually. So majorly we'll consider these three types. But in my project, so we are using the SCD type 2. So yeah, if I come to ACD type 1, it is like nothing but the old data, whatever is presented in the table, the old data is overwritten with the new data. So in this type, there is no history of changes are maintained in the ACD type 1. While come to ACD type 2, so here the new record is created for each change, whatever change, as I told, the incremental data, like whatever the changes are there, that new record is going to be created to preserving the history of the changes. And also, it is like this type is involving the adding the columns to track the validity of each records. Like I can say, example, if I am one employee, say John, he's working as of now in Bangalore, but due to some the projects he has moved to the Hyderabad. So to maintain that record to validity, so we'll insert the columns like start date and end date, right, in that new columns, and also we'll maintain the one flag columns in that SED type 2 to get the status of the current, whether like is Jan is moved from Bangalore to Hyderabad, say from 2021 he has started working in the Bangalore and he has moved to Hyderabad on 2024. So he started on 2021 and ended is 2024. And what is the current status, whether he is staying in Bangalore or how? So like that changes we'll made it in ACD type 2. So here we can maintain history data and as well as incremental data. So that is how ACD type 2 will work. And ACD type 3, here is new column is added to store the previous value. Only the one previous value will be storing in the ACD type 3, not more than that. How we'll used to store in the ACD type 2, but in ACD type 3 only will store in the one previous value. So that is the major difference between ACD type 1 and type 2 and type 3, I can say.
Okay, great, great. And what is surrogate key as part of SID type 2?
Surrogate key, it is a system generated key. I mean, the key is generated by the ETL mechanism. Is not related with the any kind of like manual applying things and all, but it is surrogate key is nothing but a system generated key during the ETL mechanism. Whenever they are performing the incremental load, that kind of things, right? So the key will generate, and it is having a unique records, and it is with the numeric only. It should not, I mean, it will not containing like alpha and numeric. It is containing only numeric. With the reference for that surrogate key also, we can able to filter the incremental data from the table.
Okay. Are you working on agile methodology?
Yes, yes, we are following agile methodology in current project.
Okay. What kind of ceremonies you are going to have when it is going to happen?
So, in the Agile actually, so as of now in the Agile methodology, we are using Jira as a management tool, like I can say test management tool. So in that, as my part is like, so I am going to involving in like before starting the sprint. So we'll have a sprint planning meeting with all the dev team, product owner, and business analyst, and our testing team and everything. So we in that meeting we'll plan the what are the sprint duration, whether it would be 2 weeks or 3 weeks, that kind of things. And also once we receive the requirement from the client, so we'll plan that, for example, if I can take the 2 weeks, so what are the stories we need to work on that for the coming next 2 weeks, and what are the test activities are involved in that particular sprint, whether it can be like I can say like design the test cases or test scenarios, or kind of designing the or creating that test strategy. That will all comes under that sprint planning. So once the sprint is active, so day by day, every day stand up calls will be there to so in that everyone will gather and will update their work status. So as part of QA, so is my things, and I will update whatever the status what are the status on that particular day, and what is my test status, and if I are having any any challenges or any roadblockers to continue with the my test activities, that and all will update in daily stand-up calls. So then once we're done with the sprint, then we'll have a sprint retrospective meeting. So there we'll discuss like how the sprint is went, whether it is went well or not, and what are the challenges we have faced during that particular sprint, and what are the things we need to improve on the upcoming sprint. So these kind of the meetings I'm involving as part of the agile methodology, Ravindra.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And what kind of defects you have raised? What is the most critical defect you have raised? And how you have communicated with the respective developer?
Yeah, so in terms of defects, these are the major part for the QA, I can say. So I mean, normal defects are usual defects like it comes to it is varying the project to project, but the general defects, I can say while we will start the validation with the metadata validation of the table. So there, if something like, any number of columns or data types, is something is mismatching between the source and target. So there the defect will come. And well, in terms of data completeness test, so we'll validate the number of records, means count of records between the source and target. If something is count is also missing, so there again defects will come. And the critical defects, I can say that it is like depends on the transformations logics as per the client requirement. So E is required like this kind of the transformations is required on the source table, and whichever is applied the transformation that should be loaded in the target. So the during the validation, if that required transformations is not applied on the particular source column, right? But it is not without transformation they have loaded the that particular column data into the target. So while during the validation with the reference of mapping document, there will have all the information like what is the source column and which are the transformations they have applied on the source column, and which column they have loaded on the target table. So with the reference of mapping documents, will create a queries and will trigger the queries to validate the transformations logic. So there, the major I have raised the major defects on the transformations side on my current project. Ravindra.
Okay, got it. So,
Yeah.
understand. Okay. So, what is boundary value testing actually? Boundary value testing, for example, this is the one of the mostly asked question.
Uh, the boundary value, I think I can say like it is a positive testing and negative testing. So those processes involved
No,
in
no, I'm
the
not
uh,
asking boundary like which you are going with the manual part. Okay, where
mhm,
you are going to create the test cases according to the based on specific techniques. Okay, I'm not
correct,
asking
correct.
that. I'm asking, suppose if I have a column, okay, within
Mhm,
that column, I wanted to load only 1 to 100. Okay, now what kind of test
mhm.
cases you are going to create? For example, the particular column should allow only 1 to 100 only. If it is
Mhm.
greater than also, it should throw error. Less than also, it should throw error. What kind of test cases which you are going to build for this particular scenario?
So then first we'll check like count of that particular whether it is having like in between the using the between conditions. I will write the query like the value is between 0 to 100, and also I'll write like count is greater than 100, that kind of test scenarios, and the count is lesser than 0, like negative wise and positive wise. And if you the sum up with that, so that kind of test scenarios we can create and we can validate to make sure the boundary level scenarios is covered on that, I think.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Suppose, let's say, okay, you worked on, you mentioned as part of your our conversation, you mentioned you specifically mentioned incremental load. Now I wanted to ask you, okay, what is initial load? What is incremental load? Okay, and what are the approaches you followed? Okay, how did you validate it? Let's go with
Uh,
one by one first. Okay, first go with the full load. After that, go for the second incremental load.
Yeah, so yeah, so when it comes to full load, it is a like one time of load, like using the ETL job. So the developer will do the loading, the data loading is a one shot. I can say one time of load that we can say as an initial load. So there first we'll do the validation. So once they're done with the initial load, so we need to make sure whatever they have loaded the data, whether the data is presented in the target table as expected or not with compared to the source. So once we are done with the initial load validations with all our general test cases, and also as per the client requirement test scenarios and all those things, we are done with the initial load. Then we are good with that. Then we'll move to the incremental load. So incremental load is nothing but I already explained like on the slowly changing dimension type like type 1, type 2, and type 3. So in the type 2, like whatever, to big before start the incremental load validation. So we need to check with the developer. So on what basis they are loading the new records. I mean delta load. We can say as a delta load, incremental load, and also we can say as a delta load. So under what basis they are going to load the incremental data. Say in my current project, so they'll give an cutoff date. For example, say so we have the like up to 14th of September. We have loaded the initial load on full load, whatever is existing in the source. We have loaded all the data in the target table. So after 14th of September, whatever transactional data is coming on the source side, I can say. So
Mhm.
that after 14, so that whatever the data is newly entering in the source table, that data we are loading as part of the incremental load in the target table. So when it comes to ETL testing, like QA, should make sure whatever incremental, I mean, new changes data is presenting in the source, that should be loaded as part of the incremental data on the target side. So that is a major challenges for the QA to make sure we should make sure that whatever is initial load data is present. I can say the history load is present the data and incremental load. So those data should be matched. Okay. So on that side, we should check on the target table side whether they are maintaining any audit columns or any business key columns or flag columns. So when it comes to audit columns, I can say I think they should maintain like a last updated date or last load date. That kind of particular column they will maintain in the target table. If not, and also they will maintain the log columns like sorry, flag columns like all the each record. For example, say in the 100 records they have loaded as a history. Okay.
Mhm.
Then next after the 14th they will load 10 records. In the 10 records, five records are updated. Okay, so I'll just explain with the example, Ravindra, if you okay with the time.
Yeah,
So yeah,
go ahead
yeah,
with it.
yeah.
Like,
So
take it up.
yeah,
Like, generally incremental does two things, right? In data warehousing world, three things will
correct,
be there,
correct.
but majority of the times which we are going to get insert, update, and delete
Exactly,
also.
exactly.
So go with one by each case with the
Yes.
example.
So yeah. So for example, I will take a Reliance the retail store as a, for example. Okay. So just assume that we are working with the Reliance store data, retail data. Okay. So it is having the multiple store across the Bangalore. Okay. So we are consolidating all the data and we are loading into the data warehouse like a target site. So once we are loaded, whatever the up to the 14th September, they have loaded all the history data into the target. After the 14th, whatever the transaction is happening day by day. For example, on the 15th September, transaction is happened all the branches in the Bangalore. Okay, so they'll take the data and they're loaded into the target. So here, what will happen? For example, 100 records are loaded up to the 14th September. Okay, on the 15th September, they have loaded only the 10 records. I'm just taking the small quantity. Okay, they have loaded the 10 records. So in the 10 records, okay, so 5 records will contains the whatever existing records are there. In the 100 records, on the 5 records, it is not a new record. It is not a new transaction. It is already existing transaction,
Okay,
but they
which
have
means
up
you are trying to say customer ID is already
customer. Yeah, that kind.
enrolled with
Yeah,
Reliance, and
Reliance.
they are going to make additional transaction on top of that customer ID.
Customer, yeah. So on that, for example, they have bought something, but they have already registered, but they have bought something extra. So or somehow they have come up with some the transaction error, or some amount is debited without buying the some other product. So they have went to home and they have checked it in the bill. No, this I did bought, but they have taken the amount. So like that, they also the next day they come with the store and they know this is what is happened. So please update as per the my bill. So on the day, 14th up to 14th, they have loaded. In the 14th, the one customer, for example, customer ID is one. Okay, he has purchased amount of something 1,000 rupees. So in that, but 1,000 rupees, some less amount, some 200 amount is going to be less. So that kind of update they will do on the 15th of September. Okay, like that, 5 records will be there, and remaining 5 records are the new records. Okay, that new customers are came and they have shopped in the Reliance. So here what I'm going to explain here on the on the incremental load side. So in the target table, we'll maintain the log like flag columns, like it is containing the data is like update or insert or delete, like that too. Like update means u, insert means high, new record means n. So like that, in that what I have taken the customer example. So so he has updated his and he has taken the 200 rupees. He has not bought the product and he went. So on that day, end of the day, so that store manager he has updated. Okay, so this particular customer he has made the some changes. So that particular record, what will come? It will check the primary key based on the primary key while loading the data through the ETL jobs. It is based on the primary key. It will check and it will in the flag columns. It will update as a update U instead of N. It will changes as a update U, and remaining five records it will loaded as a N. So based on that filtering of the flag columns, so for example, select a star from this customer table where
Got it, Pradeep.
column is equal to U and N. So like that we can validate the incremental. So that is what approach we can go.
Got it. So you are trying to say just it is a lookup which you are doing, source versus target, based on
Yeah,
the primary key. If the record is there in the target, then you are going ahead and you are updating. If the record is not there, then you are going ahead and you are keeping as a new record. So
new
to
records.
check
Yes,
it out as part of testing, you are going ahead and you are checking whether the first, for whatever the records which we are having, right, based on the audit timestamp in the target table. So let's
correct.
consider like, first load which you have run. Am I explaining more on this? Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. No problem.
let me understand you completely. Suppose, for
Yeah,
example, if I say first day you loaded, okay, based
yeah,
on
yeah.
specific timestamp you have loaded, that particular timestamp which is going to be updated as the audit column. On top of it, what you are doing, you are loading the incremental data. Whenever you are loading the incremental data, there is a additional new timestamp will be there. So based on that timestamp, you are going ahead and you are pulling the like additional and condition you are taking, and you are going ahead and you are
Correct,
verifying, right? This is what I
correct.
understood from your
Yes, exactly,
conversation.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. But I
Okay.
have explained the more, but it is a short way, so yeah, we can do that.
Got, got it.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah.
So let me summarize it on the ETL testing modeling. Could you please help me with it? Like, can you please help me with the validations step by step? Okay, then we'll close this, especially with the ETL testing and agile methodology. So, and we'll jump into other tools.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So as I already explained, like on the rules wise, on the incremental and initial load wise. So the major our test strategies will include, like once the developers are done with the loading, and that for the before starting our actual testing, so we should make sure the required test environment is stable or not, which is created or not, and all the required objects, like I can say tables or views, if any store procedures are existing, all the objects are loaded into the test environment with respect to the schemas. So that is the first part of our validation. So we should make sure that all the required objects are presented in the test environment. So once we are good with that, then we'll go for the metadata validation. So metadata validation is nothing but it is includes to validate the number of columns are presented in the tables, and what are the data types they have maintaining, and what are the data type size are there, and any relationships are maintaining between that, if like I can say the primary key or foreign key or unique key, that kind of things are existing in that as compared to the source. So this all things of validations will comes under the metadata validation. So once we are good with that metadata validation, then we'll go for the data completeness test strategy. So data completeness is nothing but to make sure that whatever the records are presented in the source, so those all the records are presented in the target, if there is no any transformations are involved between the source and target. Okay, like I can say one-to-one mapping. If any transformations are applied on the source and they have loaded the records, so based on the transformations logic, so writing the transformation logic on the source side query, and taking the count whether in the target side count is matching or not. So that will comes under the data completeness. Then we'll go for the data accurate, like like data quality. If something, any null values are presented, or any duplicate or any unwanted data is presented, that will validate as part of the data quality checks. And then we'll go for the data transformations validation. So like as I said, transformations it is vary from day by day, and also project to project, and as per the client requirement, if any additional transformations also will come in between the project. So as per the mapping document, we should prepare the test scenarios and test cases, and also we should prepare the test scripts, like writing the SQL query, and apply the transformations on the source table columns, and validate it with the target table data. So these kind of test strategies we should follow to make sure the data quality, data completeness, and data accuracy and data integration things actually, Ravindra.
Okay, good. So, will you perform source to target, source versus target, target and so target versus source as part of
Yes,
your validation? Why
yes.
we need to perform target versus source validation? What is the reason, major reason?
That is a thing, no. Somehow we don't know. The somehow that data will ETL jobs will load twice or thrice due to some backend error, and also to make sure that we'll perform the minus query between the source to target and target to source to make sure whatever the data that result should come as a null, right? We should get without any records. Then that we make sure whatever the records are presented, if applying the transformation logic on the source side, so those should be applied transformations on the target side table. So to make sure that we should perform source minus target and target minus source if it is database is the same. So
Got
yeah.
it. Got it. Okay. Would you are you familiar with the Informatica?
Yes, yes. So my primary skill on the ETL tool is I have started with the Informatica Power Center only, and recently I have moved with the Metilene and Amazon Blue with the basic knowledge actually.
Okay, great. So, what are the components you have used in Informatica? Being a tester, okay, what components you have used?
So, that is depends on the project by project, but we'll have access to the, workflow manager and workflow monitor windows. There the workflow manager will run the mapping flows like ETL flows to make sure the data load data from source to target without any errors. And in the workflow monitor will come to know if anything is while during the load, if anything errors is occurred, and using the session log will come to know where the errors are is exactly occurred, so that we'll use the workflow monitor to track all those things. So, and also I have used the some types of transformations which are presented in Informatica Power Center, like aggregator transformations, filter transformations, router transformations, and sequence generator transformations, and lookup transformations. All these kind of transformations I came across in the Informatica Power Center, Ravindra.
Great. I think you have answered other question as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Unix?
Actually, I didn't get opportunity to work with the Unix in my experience, but I know basic comments on the Unix side actually. So yeah.
What can you please help me with a couple of comments?
As per my knowledge, so if you wanted to the list the files on the Unix server, like we can use ls command, and to wanted to check directory or current directory, that kind of we can use pwd, like present work directory.
Mhm.
And to list the to view or to view the content of the files, I can say to view the data with particular file, we can use like cat space the file name. So we'll that will give whatever the data is presented in that file. And if you wanted to get the hide files in that particular directory, so then we can use like ls space hyphen a that that
Hidden
command we
files.
can use.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hidden
yeah.
files.
So hidden files. And if you want to fetch, like
Uh,
how we'll fetch in the the query, like 5 to 10 or 100 to 200 that rows, so that we will go with the set command, like set the space hyphen n, and like in single quote like 5 comma 10 that p and the
okay.
file name.
That's
So yeah,
more than enough,
yeah,
Pradeep.
yeah. So
Okay.
these kind of comments I have. I know the things in the Unix, but I didn't work on the Unix side actually. I didn't get the opportunity actually.
Okay. Got it. Got it. So, before starting up this particular piece, right? Okay, Python
Mhm.
piece.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's a mock interview. Just I wanted to take a lenience on this. So specifically nowadays people are asking Python. Okay, the reason behind it. Okay, this is the interview. Still, I'm taking it as a lenience here in this particular area, and I'm trying to explain why we are going with the Python as well. So nowadays, every company is looking for the Python, at least basic knowledge on Python, and if you have implemented some of the things or not with the Python. Why? Reason behind it. See, before it is a traditional data warehouse. Nowadays,
correct.
everybody is moving towards the like last few years, people are moved to from traditional to big data, certain extent, whatever it is feasible. But
Correct.
okay, but there is a one scenario which is happening in big data, especially with the Hadoop environment. Okay, where you are having a processing part is storage, process storage perspective HDFS, and processing part we are having, especially with the MapReduce or Spark is there. But what is the major disadvantage of that particular architecture? It is not going to support the especially ACID transaction. Nothing but a insert, update, delete, and merge comments are not supporting. Okay. Now, with that, whatever the issue which we are seeing, right? With that, what people are doing specifically, there is a latest architecture which come that is nothing but a Mendelian architecture. Okay, you
Yeah,
using this
correct.
Mendelian architecture instead of data lake, there is a new system which come new system which come into picture, new architecture that is nothing but a Mendelian architecture. Within that particular architecture, where it is having, you have a delta tables. Okay, with that, everybody is moving towards cloud. Okay, that is not
Correct.
that is a one of the reason which I'm mentioning. If you go with the cloud, okay, if you go with the traditional skills, whatever you are having, SQL, Unix, Informatica, and Agile methodology and manual testing, okay, which will help you to go there and majorly 70 to 80% which will work. But why people are looking Python? So when you are going with the cloud, right, at least you should have some programming knowledge where you can go ahead and you can query the data from file system as well as database, and you will be able to compare it. So that is where people are expecting you to be aware of with the Python. So that is where
Correct.
actually even in our mock interview also, which we are including, as actually Pradeep has attended multiple interviews, and every interview, most of the questions, which even questions are asked in Python as well. So we are including very limited part Python. So in coming mock interviews, we are going to include more and more Python part as well. So let's go with the Python automation. Did you work on Python automation, Pradeep, in as part of your career?
Uh, yeah, Ravindra, I can say have started actually. So I'm in the beginner stage. As you told about the, I mean, introduction on the Python and PySpark side, right? So nowadays, all the organizations are looking like, is not a kind of like with the standard template of ETL testing. ETL testers should have the skills like you as you told, like Informatica, Unix, and data warehouse concept and SQL. Nowadays is not working with that. That is our primary skills, but with that we should have the minimum one program language knowledge on that Python. And also nowadays, all the recruiters are screening the candidates before shortlisting into the first level of interview. They're asking, do you know the Python? Do you know cloud knowledge like anyone like AWS or Azure or GCP? And do you know the PySpark? So these kind of questions there, and how many experience do we have hands-on or only you have the basic? So these kind of questions they are asking before shortlisting into the first level of interview. I mean technical round. So in part of that, that is what even I have analyzed that market before started the looking into the job. So I have just uh, started learning on the Python, and also I have started learning on this side. So yeah, the Python have just started, a small side like doing the some automative things which are like repetitive tasks. So just with that connecting with the traditional database using the JDBC and cloud database using that Python library. So have done that kind of limited small script on the Python side, Ravinder.
Okay. What is the difference between list and tuple? You know data types, right? In Python.
Yes. I know the things. Yeah, got
Yes.
the difference. Yeah. So the list and tuple is the data types in the Python. On the list side. So it is a group of comma separated values within a square bracket. So what we are mentioning that values in the within a square bracket. So that is a list. And when it comes to the tuple, it is a group of comma separated cell, but will mentioned in the within a parenthesis with that values actually. So and the least are is a least objects are is a mutable. So if a mutable is, I can say once we create a least object, so we can perform any changes in the object like updating or removing that kind of things. But whereas in the tuple it is a immutable, means once we create a tuple object we cannot change its content, how we are changing in the list. That is a major difference between list and tuple. And also, but both the from list and tuple, we can use accessing the elements like we can use index also, and we can use the slicing things to access the elements from the list and tuple. This is a major difference between list and tuples, I can say.
Got it. Got it. Can you please write the code, like, uh, create a list and read them using loop for loop.
Uh, okay. Yeah. So shall I write in the chart window, Ravindra, or how
Yeah,
we
you can
done with
write
the
it up
shift?
in chart window. I'll copy paste.
Sure. Yeah. Just a minute. Mm.
So meanwhile, he's writing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you go ahead, Pradeep. Okay,
Yeah.
I
Just a
want to.
minute. Within. Yeah. Sure. Okay.
Yeah, no issues. Carry on.
Yes, I have pasted in chat window.
Great. So let me copy paste it here. So here, okay, got it. Yeah, this is the absolute perfect code. So thank you, Pradeep. Thanks for your time. I really appreciate the way you have answered the questions. And generally, okay, I'm taking here I'm not taking in a professional manner when I'm saying thank you. Reason behind it, okay. Before asking that question, I need to ask one question, in general way. Do you have any questions for me? Okay, but here I'm appreciating my student, stating that he's dedicated over the weekend 1 hour time, and he given this interview. I really appreciate. Thank you, Pradeep, for doing that. And a couple of things which I wanted to update you, especially with the viewers who we were seeing, right? So please do subscribe and share the channel with others as well, so that other folks also will be benefited. And very, very important, which I wanted to say with this video, okay, if you can comment in the comment section, mention that, stating that, especially need more interviews, more mock interviews. Please do let me know in the comment section, so that I can go ahead and I can take more mock interviews with my students. Thank you. Thanks, Pradeep, for your time and effort.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank you so
attending.
much. Thank you so much, sir. Actually. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you so much.
thank you. And we'll see based on the comments in the YouTube. Okay, we'll go ahead and we'll further do with other students as well. So I really appreciate. See, I wanted to mention one thing to Pradeep, and as this is the evaluation process, right? As part of the interview. So one thing which I wanted to mention. So everything is went well. Okay, even if I'm an interviewer, okay, I can select you directly. But only the thing is, so only the feedback I can give you, use more technical words. Okay, whenever you are going ahead and explaining the things, right? Use more technical words, which will make others to feel. Okay, when I say others to feel, specifically, like you are having 5 plus, you are going to be next couple of years you are going to be a lead, you are going to be a technical manager, you are going to be a lead. Okay, when you are a lead, you should be projecting as such, you should use more technical words so that others will understand easily. Anyway, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Thanks for that feedback. Actually. Yeah. I will implement that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Have a great day ahead. Bye, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.